Okay, we are live. Welcome everyone to this TOSI free webcast with me, Heather Ashamara. And our focus for today is about igniting your inner fire. So it's so great to see all of you. I love that right at 3 o'clock, all of these names started appearing under our attendees. And welcome to everyone. I'm just gonna scroll through and say hello to you. Hello. And then if you, up top, you'll see there's a little chat tab. If you tap on that chat tab and let us know where you're calling in from, that would be lovely. So Barbara, San Francisco, welcome. And then everyone, just go over to the chat, tap on that, and share where you are tuning in from today. And I'm so blessed, let's start there. I'm so grateful and feel so blessed that we have the technology that we're able to create these instantaneous online communities in this way and share teachings around how to come back more into center, into our joy, into our connection to the divine, and to ground ourselves here. So that's where I want to start. Hey, Gustavo from San Antonio, good to see you. And Janice from Connecticut, hey, sweetie. Janice. Susan from Chicago, Donna from Live Oak, Texas. Bobby from Wisconsin, Scott from Arizona, or Arkansas. Helena from British Columbia, all these people, I love it. Audrey from Kansas City, Jenny from Maryland, Gabe from Kentucky, Rachel from Austin, and all of you that are here that I didn't click, Anna from Dallas, so welcome everyone. So let's talk a little bit about the element of fire, which is about our energy, about our ability to tap into our passion, our creativity, and our energy. And really our capacity to raise energy, to store that energy, and to direct that energy is vital as we walk a spiritual path, especially a healing path. Because in order to make any transformation in our life, we need more energy. So where is the energy now? Most of our energy gets taken up in old belief systems, that every agreement, every belief that we have, whether it's conscious or unconscious, takes energy to keep alive. So we all make a lot of agreements as we're moving through the world. Some of those agreements are conscious, and the conscious ones are fine. They're a conscious choice. I will be at work on time. I will do this contract for 6 months. I will follow the agreements that I've set in our relationship. Whatever those conscious agreements are, they take energy to maintain, but they're conscious, so they're places we want to invest our energy. And that within relationships, work structures, family, our relationship with ourselves, if we want to keep our agreements, we need to nourish, feed, put energy into those different things. Where we don't put our energy, those things don't thrive. And sometimes, I know that's one of the places I'm working with right now, is my desire to have a ton of places where I'm putting my energy, because I'm so passionate about creating things. But I'm recognizing that as I put my energy into many different things, it's getting too scattered. So we want to really look at what are we doing with our fire consciously, and are we putting the energy where we want the energy to go? Or do we need to pull back, reestablish our fire, and then be very conscious about where we're putting energy? The other kind of agreements are the ones that are really important for us to explore, and those are our unconscious agreements. They're the agreements that are below the surface, that we picked up from other people, that we've taken on from our family dynamics, the lines of energy from our family, that we took on from our peers. So there's many places we get unconscious agreements: family, peers, religion, the dream of the planet that we're in. So what type of society we're raised in, what we learn, what we're domesticated in as we're growing up. Those unconscious agreements also take energy. They drain our fire as well. Because again, any agreement we make, whether it's conscious or whether it's unconscious, takes energy to keep it alive. And so there's a lot of agreements under the surface of our consciousness where we're actually feeding energy to keep those old agreements alive, even if they don't serve us, even if we don't agree with them anymore, we don't believe in them anymore. If we haven't consciously gone and said, okay, I'm going to pull the energy back from this, then they're still running in the background. It's kind of like with a computer where, or a phone, if you have a bunch of programs that are open and you never shut the programs down, that then the ones that you really want to use, they start getting impacted because the computer is trying to keep many, many programs, or your phone's trying to keep many, many programs open, and it drains the battery much faster. And so we literally want to go in and close the old programs, close the places where there are agreements that don't serve us. Now, here's the thing about our inner fire, is that energy is abundant in the universe. And yet for our physical body, we have a finite amount of energy, unless we've learned how to tap into other energy sources. And so for some of us, just living our day, just getting up, being with family, going to work, those things are enough that the end of the day, we have no energy left. We have no energy available. For other of us, we have more energy available. We have more resources available. So at the end of the day, we still have energy. And for some people, because of chronic illness, because of a lot of old beliefs that are running in the background, because of something like depression, there's very little energy at any time of the day. And so wherever you fall on that spectrum, no energy, enough energy to get through your day, and that's it, plenty of energy at the end of the day. Wherever you fall in that spectrum in relationship to your energy, you want to look at it as what's your relationship with your fire? Because your energy is your fire. And that fire needs tending, needs to be really brought into balance with where you are now. So if we let go of all of the stories, all of the excuses, all of the what's going on in my life right now, and just come back to the desire, the decision, the commitment to come into relationship with your inner fire in a new way, and to really commit to beginning to tend your own fire, to see that as your sacred responsibility to gather in your energy and to say, this is where I want to put my energy on coming back into myself. Because then we can use that inner fire. As we start to ignite this relationship with our inner fire, we then open our awareness to see, where are we leaking energy? Where are we dampening our fire? What activities, beliefs, agreements, relationships dampen our fire? And then we come to choice again of what do we want to do with that. Now here's the thing. Freedom is really coming back into choice in all the different areas of our life and recognizing that we're always at choice. The thing about being at choice is that there's also consequences of each choice that we make. So as we come into what I would call right relationship with our inner fire, we understand that we're responsible for keeping this fire bright inside of us, for feeding and nourishing it, and that doesn't look a particular way for each person. There's no one way. That for some of us, that fire is quiet and glows, and for some of us, that fire is really bright and more explosive, okay, or more passionate in the world. So each of us has a different relationship with our inner fire, what that natural fire is within us. I'll put it another way. With the Native American traditions, there's a beautiful saying that we're here to live our own song, that we're here to really sing our song in the world. And that in the Toltec tradition, which is also a Native American tradition that's based out of Mexico, the Toltec tradition, we're here to shine our light. We're here to reconnect to our unique, precious ray of light and to bring that forward into the world. To be in relationship with the unique quality of the gifts that we bring, the light that we bring into the world. And so as we come into relationship with that light, we're finding out, what is my fire like? What is my essence? What is the light that burns inside of me? How does it want to express? How do I experience it? And it changes at different times. So sometimes that fire, our essence, is quiet. Sometimes it's really big and loud, our expression of it. How we choose to express it in the world. But it's really valuable for us to honor what's true about our fire and not to compare ourselves to other people. Not to wish that we were different in how our fire is inside of our being, because we're each different, we're each unique. And if we're busy comparing ourselves, we're losing a lot of energy. We're busy saying, well, I should be like this rather than this, then we're losing energy. So to come back into, I honor this fire. And so whether you would like to have more vibrancy, passion, creativity, energy in your life, or whether you're working to keep yourself focused, that your fire doesn't scatter everywhere, that you honor where you are in that journey of transformation. And fire is the element of transformation. And we're always transforming. We're always changing inside. Our bodies are always transforming. Our relationships are always transforming. Our relationship with ourself is always transforming. So that's the gift to remember. We're coming back into honoring our expression of our fire, quiet, boisterous, passionate, soft, whatever that is, and that we also start to expand how we express. What I mean by that is this, that there is our essence and how our essence expresses, or how our essence feels. And then there's also how we want to be in the world. Okay, and these two things connect. But there may be places that we recognize, I'd like to be different in the world in this area. So something that I hear people say a lot, I'd like to love more, or I'd like to be calmer in my life. So we get to work with, how do I want to be in relationship with my fire? How do I want to bring my light into the world? And so when we come into first the foundation of what's the base of my fire. So if you think about the element of fire, that element of fire doesn't just float in the air. It's always connected to earth. If there's something that's being burned, and there's a way that the fire is grounded and is also working with wind. Okay, what feeds the fire is wind. And what feeds our internal fire is being grounded and our breath. Two really important aspects to work with. That we are showing up present this time, this place, that we have our feet on the ground, that we're connected to the earth. And as energetic beings, that's crucial. That's something that many of us don't have. We live our lives in a very ungrounded way, because we're so busy. So to slow down and to learn how to connect the fire of this being, of this energetic being, to the earth. Because when we do that, when we ground ourselves into earth, there is a lot of energy available from the earth. So we're connecting ourselves as energetic being to a larger source of energy. The other place that we can connect to a larger source of energy is the sun. So just opening and inviting the sun in helps to build your energy, helps connect you to something greater than just your fire. So we want to learn how to call in more energy, and grounding is an excellent way to do that. And also using your breath is an excellent way to do that. If you want more energy, breathe more. Really simple. Bring your attention to your breath. So everyone do that just for a moment. Take a big breath into your full body. And you'll notice immediately as you take that inhale in that there's more energy available in your system. Energy travels along intent, imagination, and breath. Okay, so our intent is, where do I want to put my energy? The clarity of what you're walking towards in your life right now. Where do I want to put more energy? So that we get clarity, and that we also then begin to pay attention to, where do I lose energy? Where am I not putting my energy where I say I want to? Okay. So when we're grounded, we have more access to energy. When we are clear with what our intent is, then we begin to create pathways, lines of energy towards where we want to go. So an example of an intent, I want to love more. I would like to be calmer at my job. That's the beginning of saying, this is what I want to put my fire towards. This is what I want to put my energy towards. And then what happens is that the old agreements start to show up. Everything that's between where we are now and where we want to go, the old energies, the old agreements start to show up. So I say, I want to be calm in my life. And then the next thing you notice is that you're freaking out about your bank account, or you get really upset at how awful traffic is. Okay. Or I want to love more. And then you notice that you're judging the person at the grocery store for not being quick enough. Okay. So you pay attention, you'll start to see, oh, right, I say I want to love more, but in this instance, I'm not. In order to build your fire, really important, we have to learn how to witness with love what we're doing with our precious energy. And to practice, not judging ourselves what we're witnessing. Because it's really our own judgment, our own criticism, our own victimization that causes us to lose the most energy. Let me give you an image that I love. And I said that imagination is also another very powerful way to work with energy, because energy follows our imagination. That if you can imagine yourself as the image that came up to me is a beautiful temple space. So the image I had was these 4 pillars. This is my image, not yours. You can make up your own. But just to get you started, these 4 pillars with this beautiful fire in the center. And so using imagination to feel that fire that's inside of us. And to start paying attention to every action you take. Is it feeding that fire? Do you feel like, whoo, yeah, more energy? Or do you feel like it's dampening your fire? So you can use a visualization of, what's the state of my fire? What's the state of my inner being now? With that image of a fire. What's dampening? What's feeding? And what you'll notice really quickly is every time you judge yourself, you're dampening the fire. So practicing, witnessing, oh, that dampened my fire. Okay, good to know. And then not going, and I shouldn't be doing it, and how dare they do it. So the places that we say it's their fault, they are dampening my fire. isn't serving you, because there's nothing that you can do to really change their behavior, the people outside. You're not responsible for how they're being in relationship to their fire. You're responsible for how you're being in relationship to your fire. Okay? So when we're in difficult situations, this is a question I get asked a lot. When we're in difficult situations where we know our fire's getting dampened at work, with our family, with our health, whatever the situation might be that's challenging, the question is, how do we maintain our own fire when there's dampening happening from the outside, when people are judging us, when we're being told we're not right or we're not doing it right, when we are ill and struggling with an illness? How do we keep our fire bright? Such a good question. And part of that is recognizing that the world gets to be what the world is. I know I struggled with this for a long time. I wanted the world to be the way I wanted it to be. And I wanted me to be the way I wanted me to be, how I thought I should be. But what I've learned over the years is that the more that I surrender and let people be who they are. Now, it doesn't mean I don't make boundaries. It doesn't mean I don't end friendships. It doesn't mean that I don't say that's not okay. I'm not going to play in that way. What it does mean is that I don't spend my precious energy trying to change somebody else. I come back to not saying, well, I have to change, but saying, how can I work in this situation? If I'm not worrying about their fire and what they're doing with their fire, but if I come back to what's my relationship with my fire and how do I want to hold it, then I have something to work with. Then it gets really exciting. When we can be in a different relationship with the obstacles and challenges in our life, everything starts to change. So if you can imagine that you know you want to create change in your life and the obstacles start to arise, whatever the obstacles are, the difficult people, the old belief systems, that whenever a challenge arises, if you can go, yes, you are a good challenge. You are a fabulous challenge. Because anytime that there's a challenge, an obstacle, a manifestation, the outside of you that is causing you to stop, causing you to feel uncertain, causing you to go into self-judgment, that's where you've put your energy. Any obstacle can be seen as, I have to fix it, or it can be seen as, here is a gift reflecting back to me where I have old beliefs and agreements that don't serve me. So then instead of being in judgment, instead of trying to fix or change, instead of wishing we were different, we open to being in relationship to our fire in a different way, of recognizing obstacles are showing us where we have old beliefs or old agreements inside of us that are dampening. That those beliefs or agreements are what are dampening, not the person out there. Okay. It might be challenging, but it's our responsibility to keep our beautiful fire burning. And all that's happening when there's an obstacle or a difficult situation is that it's giving us the opportunity to come into our center, into our gratitude, into our fierceness, into our presence even more, and to ask ourselves, how can I best feed my fire in this situation? Some situations you'll need to leave. Okay, it's not workable within the dynamic, and only you can find that out. Only you can know that, what's right for you in that situation. You can get support and guidance from your friends always. And I highly recommend getting guidance and support, but ultimately, you are responsible for your fire. You're going to be listening to where is the best place for you to be. Sometimes challenging situations are fabulous because of how much that we grow through them. Sometimes a situation is such that it's not workable. It's not actually helping you to build your fire. It's just causing you to dampen your own fire, to take on other people's beliefs and use it against yourself. Okay, so we want to find that balance and listen to what's best going to serve us. And one of the best ways is to know what your intent is, what your focus is in every situation that you're in. Igniting your inner fire is about the willingness to come back into relationship with your divine, sweet essence, with your own fire. And that relationship, you see your fire as precious. You see your fire as unique. And you're curious to get to know, how does this being want to express? How do I best serve this being's fire? It's one of the ways that I love being in relationship with myself, that I've learned, is that when I can stop and look at myself as if I was looking at someone that I really cared about, that I really loved. And this was especially when I was first struggling with befriending myself. If I can get that perspective of like, okay, what does this person need? If I pretend that I don't know, I haven't had my own history, and I can come into that place of loving, compassionate witness with myself, and then ask, what does this being need in relationship with their fire? How can they help to let go of what doesn't serve and come into their truth, their passion, their creativity? And that distance can help a lot. Just that little bit of a space. And sweeties, no, you don't have to do everything all at once. Just by stepping into, I want to be in relationship with my fire in a different way, is a beautiful step, because what you're doing is you're committing to yourself in a new way. And that commitment is your power. That's your yes. And then the universe will start supporting you in that yes. That's the really cool thing about energy, is that you're not alone. You're part of a vast system of energy. You're part of a vast system of connectedness that is here to support you. That's here to support you bringing your light forward. Is here to help you find what your essence is. And we tap into that larger universal fire, larger universal creativity, because really the universe is an immensely creative place. Immensely creative in what's always happening. And you're not exempt from being part of the creative force of the universe. The moment that you tap into, I want to be in relationship with my fire, I want to develop and expand and open up my own energetic being, be in new relationship with my fire, I believe the creative force of the universe says, yes, okay, another being that wants to align with their fire. Because you are part of the creativity of the universe. And when you own your unique expression, when you own this, the beauty of this precious, precious spark of life that you are, I believe the universe celebrates and goes into high gear around supporting you. And sometimes that high gear is not so fun. Sometimes that high gear is, okay, you want to be in relationship with your fire and really own and honor yourself, well then this piece of your life needs to be cleaned up. So sometimes we start to see like, right, out of alignment, or something shifts big. And so how are we going to be in relationship with it? if we hold that the universe is supporting us, that the universe is guiding us, that life is moving through, and that we are part of that life, then it's easier to open our hands to all the possibilities, to the births that are happening in our lives and the deaths that are happening in our lives. And there's that constant fiery transformation of things that are being birthed and things that are burning away. There's always going to be places in our life where that spark of life brings us something new, and always places in our life where the fire is burning something away. If we learn to love both the fiery births and the fires of clearing, then we're in a beautiful new dance with the flow of life and the power of the fire to create and destroy, and that those qualities are one and the same. So I want to open up and see if there's any questions or any comments. So on the chat, I love to see how many people are here. We have 55 people that are on live right now, and probably more than that because sometimes not everybody's name shows up. So you're in a fabulous, fiery community right now. And so within that, let's open it up for any questions, any shares. So the chat bar is at the top. If you just click on that tab that says chat, you'll be able to then ask a question or share anything that you want. There's a little bit of a delay, so I'm going to keep talking and then keep writing, sharing whatever questions, comments, hellos that you want to share. Hi, Stefan from Germany, New Orleans, Missouri, Massachusetts. We've got some great, great connections happening here. So beautiful. I am super passionate about helping all of us to come back into alignment with our authenticity, our truth, our spark, and to really come into what's true for me, what's my expression, and that doesn't happen right away. It can take time to rediscover or to rebirth ourselves. And the truth is, we're constantly rebirthing ourselves in one way or another. Life changes. And as we come into relationship with our fire, what's cool is that we become more resilient. Resiliency is one of my favorite words. So resiliency means something difficult can happen and you bounce back. You don't break, you're flexible. You're able to move with challenging situations. So as we're more in alignment and in touch with our own fire, our own essence, our resiliency goes up, our compassion goes up, our love of self goes up, everything starts to increase. And things become more joyful overall. That's been my experience. So a question from Megan. Hi, Heather Ash, loving Warrior Goddess Bootcamp. I'm so glad you're part of it. Isn't it fun? So I wanted to ask how to best heal a broken heart when it feels it was a real soul connection. Ooh, did you write me earlier too, Megan? There's been somebody who had the same question. So how to heal your heart when you feel like there's been a big soul connection. So from direct experience, I know your heart will heal, and it will take its time in some cases. What you want to do is to come back and to ask yourself, this is what I found to be incredibly helpful in terms of healing from ends of relationship, from death, from big changes, is to come back and to be really compassionate with yourself and to ask, what am I really craving? So in terms of romantic relationships, we often have a whole ideal of what a great relationship is and what it should look like. And if we have a soul connection with someone, then it feels like, there's the connection, which is beautiful. And then there's the story that we create about the connection, which causes suffering. So the story around the connection are things like, that's the only one, or it was meant to be and now they've gone away and therefore nothing's going to happen next, or I did something wrong. So we want to do two things simultaneously. One, look at, are there old agreements or beliefs that we're telling ourselves that are causing more suffering? So I should have done things differently. I'm broken. If only I had had a different childhood. If only they had behaved differently. All of that, not healing, okay, not supportive. It's all going to drain. So sometimes it's hard to turn that thinking around, but we want to be really mindful of what story am I telling myself that's dampening my fire? And the second piece is, what am I craving? So let go of the individual, because we tend to attach to it's this one individual I want, and really come back and to start asking yourself, and it may take days, it may take weeks, but what is it that I'm really missing? What am I craving? Because whatever the loss was, there's now a gap that's something you're wanting more of in your life. And when you can let go of, that person's going to give me that thing I want more of, and say, I'm craving this thing, how do I give it to myself? Where can I bring that in? How can I feed myself? Because my fire is yearning for that. It changes everything. So when I was going through the breakup of a 10-year marriage, what I found is that I was craving a certain thing, of thinking I want this human to come back. And that was the feeling. If this human came back, I'd be okay. But when I was able to let go and say, okay, what am I really craving? What do I miss about him? And I was able to name, I miss his calm. I miss the feeling of love. I miss the things that we did together. Then to come back and say, okay, girlfriend, how are you going to give those to yourself? What are you going to do? And so I reclaimed my fire and I'm craving that. How do I give that to myself? So that's how I would support you, is just know it's going to take time. Grieving is a process. It takes time. It's like healing a broken arm. If you keep it clean, if you keep putting salve and love towards it, and if you keep saying, what do I need to nourish myself? You'll heal. Okay. It'll take the time it takes. So that's one quick answer. So look at all these fabulous questions. Thank you for making difficult concepts so accessible. Will this be archived somewhere? I need to listen to this more than once. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to share the link from the recording. I'll probably put it up on Facebook, and it'll be on YouTube, so you can access it anytime, 24/7. And I'm going to do more of these because I love this. It's so good. Thanks for sharing your gift. You're so welcome, sweethearts. Being a survivor of abuse and incest, I am very new to goddess energy, very new. I'm very excited to learn more and connecting to this part of myself deep. Beautiful, welcome. Helen, I feel like I'm in a relationship that's really worthwhile with my best friend of 4 years. We just decided to acknowledge our romantic relationship. It's so extraordinary and I don't want to lose him. However, I feel so drained and so afraid. I don't know how to reclaim my fire. I've never been in a relationship where I keep my fire. Okay, here's what I would say, sweetie. Yay for friendship transforming into something. And what I would say is really both of you talk about what you love about your friendship, what feeds the friendship, what's the fire of the friendship, because that's the foundation. Then if you want to bring in a different type of relationship, that you're clear about what the agreements are, that you do it consciously, and that you also make sure you give yourself a lot of space from each other. Because often what happens when we change relationships, or we get into a romantic relationship or shift a relationship, is that we then spend a ton of time together. We get immersed and enmeshed with each other, and we lose our fire because we start thinking our fire is their fire, therefore we do some crazy stuff in a relationship. So take a lot of time to yourself to nourish your fire, to stay clear about what are you doing in the relationship? What do you want? Okay, and especially for women, this is true for men as well, but especially for women, we tend to put our attention on what the other person wants us to be or what we think they want us to be. So you have to keep coming back to, what am I in this relationship for? What is my intent? Be clear with your intent, because that's your fire. Your intent is where you're putting your fire. Okay, I hope that helps. And you can also email me if you have other questions. You guys can email me at heatherash@tosi.org. Might take me a while to get back to you, but I will. Do we tune into what we want and the universe supports that, or do we tune into what our purpose is and what divine will is? Hopefully they are the same. I'm not sure of if I want is my divine purpose is. Make any sense? Thank you. Great question. I'm going to read it one more time to make sure I have it right. You know what? I think what you're saying is true, is that when we tune into what we really desire, I believe that's what our purpose is. And I would say that in this way, because there's what we desire, which is what I call short-term desires, and there's what we desire, which is a long-term desire. So there's short-term nourishment and there's long-term nourishment. An example of short-term nourishment is the cup of chai I just had. Like, it was tasty in the moment. I loved it. It gave me a little bit of caffeine kick. But if I know for my body, if I keep doing caffeine day after day after day, it's not good for my body. It's not a good long-term nourishment source. Okay? So it's the same thing with what we desire. There's things that are impulsive desires that in this moment, I want that extra pair of shoes, or I want to feel loved by that person. I want to be acknowledged by that person and told that I'm a good person. Okay, those are short term. There's nothing wrong with it. But if your short term then turns into long term, it's detrimental. So if I lived my entire life always looking for the next approval from someone outside of myself, it's going to suck, because I'm not going to be living my life. I'm going to be living, what do everybody want me to be? Okay, do you feel the difference between those things? So I want to begin to gear my life for what's my long-term desire? What really feeds me? What really nourishes my fire? Not what just peps me up in this moment, but what sustains me? What would keep me warm and passionate and feeling powerful even when things were difficult around me? Okay, that's what we want to start feeding. So I hope that helps your great question. Helena, does it ever get worse before it gets better? Sometimes, absolutely. Or if the energy is draining right away, is that a clear sign that it won't work? No, it's not. It's a sign that there's fear present and that you have some old beliefs that need to be cleaned up. That's what it's a sign of. So give yourself the time, the space, the container to clean up the old beliefs. And here, sweeties, is why I'm so passionate about community and why I spend a lot of my time figuring out how do I create circles of community, is that we need each other. Okay, some of these belief systems that we're unraveling as a society, as a culture, as a global, as humans, are deep. They're really deep. And so we're all learning how to be ourselves, how to come back home. And it's not like we've lost home. Home is there. We've just put a lot of stuff between who we truly are and what we believe we should be. There's a gap. So I see it as that as humans, we're born connected. We're born in joy. We're born in just awe of the world when we're little. And then we start taking on different beliefs and agreements, and this line of energy of who we are is still there. Our essence hasn't gone anywhere, but we're living over here. And everything, all of this in between, is all the agreements and beliefs and old energetic patterns that don't serve us. So we're learning, we use tools to clean, so we can come back to ourselves. We can have that homecoming. And community is really important. Getting the tools are really important. So in a minute, I'm going to share some other offerings of how you can continue if you want a container to hold you. I've got some cool things coming up. So a couple more questions. Are you familiar with Michael Brown's The Presence Process? Amazing experiential process book on how to do exactly what you're talking about. Tap into authentic. Nice. Using the world as a mirror. Beautiful. Michael Brown's. It doesn't sound familiar. I will go check it out. And it's so wonderful. We live in such an amazing time right now where there are so many teachers and resources that we can tap into to help us come into that presence. And the truth is, all spiritual books, all healing books pretty much say the same thing, which is come back into your authenticity, love yourself, be present. And yet there's so many different ways that we can find to help us do that. So I'll check it out. Thank you for sharing that. And keep finding what nourishes you, what lights your fire up, who sparks you. Because there are a lot of humans doing things in a lot of different ways. When you are in connection with someone, who do you go, yes, that feels right. You know, that's how I worked with my different teachers over the last 25 years, as I'd see someone and my whole body would just go, yes, and I would feel this huge energy. And then I'd go spend as much time as I could with that person, because I knew they were resonating at a frequency that was waking me up. So we're so blessed. So last couple questions. I'm loving the book and the boot camp. I'm glad that you are reading Warrior Goddess Training and doing the boot camp, helping me so much. In 2011, my family lost everything in a flood in Brazil. And about 2 years ago, our life took another turn for the worst. Late last year, I was so depressed, about 220 pounds. I came across your book. I do not have the words for how much it has helped me. Oh, good. 60 less, and I feel hopeful and happy. Oh, you're so welcome, sweetheart. Thanks for sharing. And that's, you know, that's really what I feel like. I am blessed to be able to share what I've learned to help others. And when we have big loss, when we have really difficult situations, that's part of what my first book, Toltec Path of Transformation. It's all about how to embrace change, inner change and outer change. And I've been through some big upheavals in my life. And so the lessons I've learned for those, I'm so happy to share in Warrior Goddess Training. And also from just the fabulous experiences that I've had as well are in that book, and Toltec Path of Transformation. So blessings to you. And just know that I'm holding you in my heart. I really am. Every night I send prayers to all the people that are connected through the books or through the webcasts or through the website. And just am so grateful for each of you being willing to find yourself again, even when things have been difficult. So blessings. You're welcome, Helene. I have abundance of fire which tends to explode at the most inopportune times. The fire nowadays seems to more reactivity to fear, anger, meditate. Yeah. So that's good to know about yourself, is that your fire is explosive. And so that's a gift and a curse, obviously. The gift is you have a lot of energy. Yay. The curse is that it's being channeled in ways that don't serve you. And so to love the fire, but to start asking yourself, so how I would support you is that to look for the places where your fire is big and creating destruction rather than healing, okay, towards yourself and towards others. And then start to explore what are the triggers that cause the blow-ups. And what you can do is start to map out what the triggers are. Start stalking yourself and writing the triggers down. Okay, and it's great to see them on paper. Start to really catalog. Okay, somebody cuts me off in traffic. Okay, my boss gets upset with me. Whatever it is, to start marking it, to start naming it, and then to start looking at what's the belief or the agreement that might be in there. What am I defending? What am I justifying? What's the vulnerability underneath that fire? So to not judge, to notice, to witness, to be curious, to gather information, and then you can start directing your fire so that you might have a big energetic reaction. My relationship with fire now is so different, and I love it. I'll get upset around something. I'll feel this huge, big energy, but I don't express it. I just let it move through, and then I'll come into, okay, so now what do I want to do with this? Sometimes it's using it. That fire energy of cutting through can be very useful. And sometimes it's recognizing this is just my stuff, has nothing to do with the other person. And so then I choose how I want to relate. Okay, we want to come back to choice. So good news is you have a lot of fire, that's great. The challenge is then learn to direct it, to be more at choice. So keep practicing. So last question. I have an abundance of, okay, that was Dana as well. Can you please share some ideas how to settle the fire and keep curb the negativity or reactivity? So one place is to go into gratitude, to start doing gratitude practice. What am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? That helps. And to also self-soothe. And what that means is that you talk to yourself in a different way. So often you'll find you're talking to yourself in a way that exacerbates the explosions. So practice talking to yourself in a new way. Wow, that was intense. I can't believe they cut me off. I'm really furious. I'm going to take some breath. And you just talk yourself through, but I'm going to take some breaths and I'm going to open and I'm going to be present. So you can learn to talk to yourself. And sometimes talking to yourself out loud helps the rewiring process. It can sound weird, but it's good. It seems that everything is being torn from me, taken, destroyed, the rug pulled from underneath me, if you will. Is it because I have lost touch with self and am focusing on that which is no longer serves me? You know, sweetie, who knows? That's the truth. But what we do know is you have an opportunity now. So things are transforming. And what I found is that in the middle of a lot of change, the best thing to do is to not ask why, how, because often we're asking from victim or asking from judge, but to come to how can I nourish myself through this transition? What do I need now? Make those the questions. So find questions that feel nourishing to your fire, okay? Rather than questions that feel like they're dampening you or causing you to judge more. So start to look at what questions am I asking myself? Is this dampening my fire or is this helping stabilize my fire? Okay. It doesn't mean you're bad and wrong because things are dissolving. It means things are dissolving, period. Okay. It means things are being pulled out from under you, period. In the future, you'll be able to go back probably and see, oh, right, well, of course, this and this and this. But in the midst of it, nourish yourself, ground, celebrate what is here. Okay. Find community that can support you through the transition. And just know that you are held, even when it feels like you're not. You really are. So Chad, I tend to spread myself too thin, too many projects at a time. I was just talking to someone about this for myself too. I like your message about protecting my fire, my energy, my life, and my love. I have noticed that smiling throughout my days helps the day go better and makes life smoother. Thanks, Heather Ash. I made a really good shift when I went to Peru with you in 2007. Awesome. Good to have you here and to share. And yes, it's a really important thing for us to look at what am I doing with my fire? Am I spreading it too thin? And start to pull it back in so that we're really at choice about where we're putting our fire and our energy. I love your questions. How do you find a teacher or approach someone that you would like to learn under? Ask them. It's pretty simple. Find who resonates in your heart and then find out how they're connecting with people. And you'll find some people, they're not connecting with people at the time, but you can, you know, I have people I would consider my teachers that I've never met, but that I connect in with their energy. I watch their videos, I read their books, and then there's other people that I'm like, you know what? I want to go deeper with that person. Be willing to ask, see what they offer. That's what I would share. Thanks, sweet girl. I am a Reiki master healer and a huge deal for me to channel, always practicing. Good. All right, good questions. So, dear ones, in the last couple minutes that we have together, I just want to share a couple programs that I have coming up for those of you that are wanting a stronger container for yourself. And the idea of having a container for your fire, for you to work with your fire, is really powerful and really important. And so right now I have a couple of online and a couple of Austin-based programs. So the online programs, one is Warrior Goddess Training. It's a Phoenix Circle. And it's really about it's very much about taking the fire and lighting up each of the different energy centers in our body to look at where's old, gunky, energy that doesn't serve us, to burn that away, and then to collect our energy back, to gather our energy back. So we work with ancestral lines of energy where we're carrying forward old ancestral beliefs and agreements that don't serve us, and how to clean those so that we're choosing what we want to carry forward. We work with sexuality and creativity and how to really bring a lot more fire back into our life. We work with will, power, strength, how to get clear with what our intent is and move towards it in a powerful way. Inner power, and looking at the places we put power outside of ourselves. We work with heart and how to love more. So one of the things that I passionate about, excited about, is making things practical. So every program that I do, there's a lot of practical, here's the tool, here's the exercise, here's the next step. We work with communication, we work with intuition. So Warrior Goddess Training, the online program, has a component that meets during the week, Wednesday, first and third Wednesday evenings, second and fourth Wednesday days. They're short live webcasts or phone calls. Everything's recorded. So everything's available on the website. And one of the beautiful things about a container like this is that there's a topic for the month, there's a topic for the week, there's guidance around how to take the teachings into your life. And so we're able to stay focused on your own healing, because we know how insane the world is and how many things get pulled around us. So right now for that Warrior Goddess Training Phoenix Circle, I've got a 2-for-1 special, which is crazy wonderful. So you can bring a friend for free, or you can split it with a friend. And I think, let me see if I can do this. Display offer. So I don't know if that offer is displaying to you guys. It says Poppins Public. Ooh. It says it is, but I don't know if it is or not. So if you click on Poppins up above, you might be able to see that offer and where it is. And going back to the chat. So basically what that is, so the 2-for-1, if you go to warriorgoddess.com, at the top you'll see online, and you'll also see Austin. For those of you that are Austin based that aren't in the circle already, it's phenomenal. So come join me in Austin if you're anywhere in the area. First and third Wednesdays that are taught by Monique and Coral. And then one Saturday a month, it's the fourth Saturday of every month live that I am here teaching. And then I'm also on tour, so check out our website at toci.org, TOCI.org, to see if I'm in an area near you. I'm going to the Midwest starting on very soon, going to Calgary on the 10th, and then I'll do Pacific Northwest and East Coast, June and July. So would love to see you if you're in any of those areas, or feel free to pass it on for me. On the Facebook page, there's all sorts of information as well. My personal Heather Ashamara, as well as the TOCI, Toltec Center of Creative Intent Facebook page. And then next month, I'm going to give myself a month to get Warrior Goddess launched. And then next month, I'm doing a program that's called Stalking Freedom. And that is men and women. So Warrior Goddess is women. Stalking Freedom, men and women. And that's a really beautiful program as well. So stay tuned. If you not on our website, I'll be adding you in from joining this call, and you probably are on our list, so you'll know when things are coming up. Check out the monthly newsletters. That's where I tend to download everything that's coming up. And you can also check out our website at any time, toci.org, TOCI.org. It has been so delightful to be with all of you, so thank you for taking the time out of your day today to join me and to ask such fabulous questions. And I'll let you know when I do this again, because it's so much fun. So for you women out there, if you're not sure about Warrior Goddess Training, don't think about it, just do it. Really, 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 because it's incredible. And we all need the support. And I would be honored to get to go deeper with you and support you on your journey. Okay, that's my pitch. Blessings to each of you. Find the support you need wherever you can get it. Nourish yourselves and really come into what is your fire need now. And this idea of long-term nourishment versus short-term nourishment. How do you sustain your fire? Blessings, dear one. Take good care. Bye-bye.